Ripple's stablecoin strategy and the XRP ledger's bridge design reveal something crucial that most debates around crypto miss. People assume stablecoins will replace assets like XRP, but that skips a more important question. What happens when value needs to move between different pools that don't align? That's the real issue in financial systems, and this video is about showing you why it's far bigger than any single asset fight. The question isn't which one wins, it's how they could each play a role in an increasingly fragmented financial system. The friction between different forms of money isn't going away. It's just becoming more complex. Ripple, RLUSD, and the XRP ledger give us a concrete way to see the real divide here. One part of the system is about denomination, the other is about movement. Those sound similar from the outside, but for institutions, they are not the same job. A stablecoin can solve a very specific problem. It can represent a dollar in digital form. It can move 24/7. It can settle faster than many legacy rails. For treasury teams, that matters because trapped cash, delayed handoffs, and banking cutoffs create real operational friction. If a firm can hold a regulated digital dollar and move it instantly between approved counterparties, that is already useful. But that does not answer the next question. What happens when the receiving side does not want that issuer, that currency, or that specific rail? What happens when one pool of digital money needs to connect to another without forcing capital to sit everywhere in advance? The debate usually stops before that question even arrives. The clearest way to understand stablecoins is to stop treating them as a general answer and start treating them as a specific instrument. Ripple's own positioning around its stablecoin makes that visible. The pitch is not mystery. It is denominated digital money for settlement, treasury mobility, and broader institutional use. That matters because banks and corporates like clarity. A dollar-denominated token is easier to work with than a volatile bridge asset when the immediate goal is moving dollar value, posting collateral, or reducing settlement delay. In practical terms, a treasury desk can look at that and say, this helps us move known value faster. So stablecoins are not trivial. They are a serious step forward. But the more successful they become, the more the picture changes. Because a world with more digital dollars does not automatically become a world with less fragmentation. It may become a world with more of it. Here's the disconnect most viewers miss. Money form and money movement are related, but they are not identical. A stablecoin solves for denomination. It does not automatically solve for universal interoperability. Imagine a bank, a payment provider, and a corporate treasury platform operating across 3 regions. One side uses a regulated dollar stablecoin. Another may prefer tokenized deposits. A third may still settle through local bank money and legacy infrastructure. Value still has to cross boundaries between balance sheets, currencies, and compliance zones. The old system had fragmentation. A tokenized system can still have fragmentation, just in faster and more programmable form. Digitizing money does not unify the system. It multiplies the number of systems that need to connect. If the dollar is now digital, why is the problem getting harder, not easier? To understand that, we have to look at the difference between holding money and moving it. This is where XRP stops being a slogan and becomes a mechanical question. On the XRP ledger, pathfinding and auto-bridging were designed for a simple reason. Direct liquidity is not always there when value needs to move. If 2 assets do not have enough depth between them, an intermediary path can reduce friction. That does not prove banks will all rush to hold XRP on balance sheet. It does show what role XRP was built to play. Not denominated money, not bank deposits. A movement layer, a bridge when direct routes are weak, fragmented, or expensive. The difference matters. Stablecoins can be the thing you hold. XRP can be the thing a system uses in motion. In theory, that allows institutions to keep value in more stable units while still accessing a neutral intermediary when moving between pools of money. In the end, XRP isn't trying to replace money. It's trying to help money move. A serious bank skeptic would push back immediately and fairly. If banks can issue tokenized deposits or settle through regulated systems they already trust, why introduce XRP volatility or public market dependency at all? That is not a weak objection. It is the smartest one, and it gets stronger when central banks and policy institutions enter the conversation. Over time, banks may prefer tokenized deposits for many use cases, because deposits preserve the existing banking relationship more naturally than third-party stablecoins do. That means the real long-term challenge to XRP may not be stablecoins alone. It may be bank-native digital money. But even that objection has a limit. Tokenized deposits solve one problem very well inside trusted networks. They do not automatically remove the need to connect different institutions, different jurisdictions, and different forms of money. They may reduce some friction while leaving the interoperability problem alive. Now the picture changes. The strongest version of this thesis is not that banks need stablecoins and XRP forever in exactly the form crypto holders imagine today. It is that finance appears to be moving toward a multi-money environment. That could include regulated stablecoins, tokenized deposits, central bank-linked settlement assets, and legacy bank money still operating in parallel. If that pattern holds, then the strategic value shifts upward. The important question becomes, who helps value move between these forms without forcing every institution to pre-position liquidity everywhere? That is why this conversation matters now, instead of 5 years ago. A few years ago, most of this was theory. Now, stablecoins are increasingly treated as institutional tools. Tokenized deposits are becoming a serious policy and banking discussion. And infrastructure providers are positioning around interoperability rather than one asset dominance. The battlefield is maturing. If broader adoption develops, it probably will not look like banks publicly choosing a team. It will look quieter than that. A treasury platform adds support for regulated digital dollars. A bank pilots tokenized deposits in a controlled environment. A payment corridor starts using a new liquidity path only when direct pre-funding becomes inefficient. A market maker steps into the middle, where issuers and rails do not naturally line up. That kind of adoption is harder to market because it does not feel tribal. But it is far more realistic. Institutions do not usually replace entire systems in one move. They add sidecars, test where friction is highest, and expand where capital efficiency improves. In that kind of world, stablecoins can grow without killing bridge demand. They can actually expose where bridge demand still exists. The more systems you add, the more valuable the connections between them become. And that may be the quiet realization at the center of this whole topic. The more forms of tokenized money appear, the more valuable connective infrastructure can become. Not because one asset wins the narrative war, but because complexity creates a new class of bottleneck. So the original debate ends in a different place than most viewers expect. Banks are not choosing between XRP and stablecoins the way crypto communities choose sides. They are sorting functions. They are asking what should hold value, what should move value, and what should connect systems once money becomes more digital, but not necessarily more unified. Stablecoins may serve as denominated digital money. Tokenized deposits may become the preferred bank-native form for certain environments. And XRP may matter most, where fragmented pools of value still need a neutral route between them. That is not certainty. It is a structure the evidence increasingly allows us to see. The real story, then, is not replacement. It is specialization. Different jobs, different tools. And if that is where finance is heading, then the next thing to watch is not just stablecoin growth by itself. It is whether the growth of many digital money forms makes interoperability more important, not less. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next deep dive. This channel is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and is not financial advice. Always do your own research and keep the discussion respectful. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment, or sharing it with a friend.